Hello everyone, I'm going to take you through an example on how to do a two-sample z-interval for a difference in proportions. Has retention rate at Penn State University been changing? Suppose that a random sample of 200 entering students in 1989 showed 74% were still enrolled 3 years later. Another random sample of 200 entering students in 1999 showed that 66 were still enrolled 3 years later. Construct and interpret a 98% confidence interval for the difference in 3-year retention rates. So since we're doing a confidence interval, this is going to be a panic problem. So to set this up, our parameter, well, we have two different parameters. We have p hat 1, which is 1989, which was 74%. And we have p hat 2, which was 1999, which was 66%. So p hat 1 is the 3-year retention rate in 1989, and p hat 2 is the 3-year retention rate in 1999. Our assumptions are we are given two independent SRSs. Secondly, if we do 74%, 0.74 times 200, and we do 0.26 times 200, that number is going to be 148, and that number is going to be 52. And then for the other one, we would do 0.66 times 200, and 0.34 times 200. That's going to be 132, and that's going to be 68. All are greater than 10. So normality can be assumed. Okay, and the third one is that we must assume there are more than 10 times 200 is 2,000 entering freshmen, entering students in 1989 and 1990. Alright, so since we have two samples, they're independent. This is a two-sample z-interval for difference in proportion. Right, and then we're going to set this up. So we're going to do construct for the difference in the 3 years. So I'm going to do, let's do 1999 minus 1989. So 0.66 minus 0.74 plus or minus. We need a z-critical value. All right, so let's see. We wanted a 98%. So I'm going to go to the book, and a 98% is right there, 2.326. Okay, 98%. See where my little arrow's pointing? I'll draw a picture here. 98%, 2.326. So that's the number that we want to use for our z-critical value. 2.326. So 2.326 times a big long square root. So it's going to be p hat 1, which was, so I let this go first, so it's going to be 0.66 times 0.34 over 200 plus, then we can do the other side, 0.74 times 0.26 over 200. Okay, so now I'm going to go to my calculator, and I'll go to Stat, go over to Tests, go down to a two-sample Z interval, two proportion Z interval, and the first one, so now it's asking you to do x1. We can't put in 74%. We have to make that number switch. So I'm letting 1999 was my first number, 0.66 was my first number. So x1, I'm actually going to switch my numbers around. So 66% would be 132 out of 200. And then for x2 would be the 74%, which is 148 out of 200. And I want 0.98. And then if I go down and calculate, I get the interval is from negative 0.186 to 0.026. So my conclusion then is, give myself some room here, we are 98% confident that the true difference in proportions of 3-year retention rates for entering students at PSU 1999 minus 1989 is between negative 0.186 and 0.026. There is insufficient evidence to conclude that the proportions have changed. And the reason I can say that is because the difference of 0 is included in my interval. So therefore, it is quite possible that there is a 0% difference because it's in my interval. So we would say that there's insufficient evidence to conclude that the proportions have changed. That's it. That's all there is. So hopefully that helped clarify a few things. And if you have any further questions, I will see you in class tomorrow.